table, and we have really a huge stack in comparison to everyone else. So we really should be opening up more. When we were talking about changing gears earlier in the poker clinic, this is one of those psychological inflection points where where we're going to start seeing people starting to think about the bubble. And normally the bubble is going to kick in well before the final table in most tournaments. This is kind of a small event, so a small number of entrants. Let's see. It's your actually. It's not a. Okay, so Broke Finger comes in for 24.50. I'm tempted just to re-raise him, but we'll hold off on that. So we catch a little bit of the flop, and now we got him deciding not to c-bet, which who knows where we're at. I don't know where we're at. So when you don't know, fold. If you don't know where you're at, just fold. 9 iron 12. If I've seen all of Dutch's 3 streams, am I now a fanboy? It's been 4, man. Thanks for watching. 9 iron 12. Makes it worth it. So normally we'd go ahead and raise there, but 8-5 offsuit. The only other stack at our table that we're even remotely worried about. I think it's okay just to fold. Now we got S cross making a min raise, and we actually have a hand that can stand a raise, but he hasn't really been too active. We're going to go ahead and give him credit for a hand that's better than ace 9. A lot of times when we call there, we're going to be dominated. So we'd almost rather have a hand like 8-9 suited than ace 9 offsuit there. Let's see. Sisty's up. Thanks for joining the stream. Sisty's up. Wyland. Yes, I became a fan after he invented the internet, and that's pretty funny. So it's been a while since we've actually seen a hand go to showdown, which is good. I mean, that's how it should be. Poker is a game of just like pushing and pushing and pushing until you get resistance back, and generally the fewer showdowns you actually see in poker, the better the players are. The last time we saw a showdown was between Broke Finger and Ben Canned 88. Now Ben Canned 88, he's a guy who we've been making it pretty deep with a few times. This is probably a Vegas pro. So far, I feel like he's been playing pretty decently in the 2 tournaments that we've made it deep with him. Is that a first edition copy of Super System behind you, Willie? Yes, it is. First. And watch. So this is one of the coolest things I own, you guys. The first edition, first printing of Doyle Brunson. So when Doyle Brunson's Super System, and the first time it was printed, it wasn't called Super System. It was called How I Made Over $1 Million Playing Poker. Right now, in later editions, they changed the name of it, and this is going to be a spot where it's a strong enough hand. We'll just go ahead and make it 3 times a big blind. If he re-raises us here, it's awfully tempted to 4-bet. It's awfully tempting to 4-bet there. But this is one of my coolest things. So I hope that I never go completely broke where I have to sell this, because not only is it a first edition, first printing, and you can just imagine a young Doyle Brunson finishing it up, sending it to the printers, and this is like one of the very first ones that roll out. But it's also really cool because Doyle, who's one of my heroes in poker, I caught him over at the Bellagio one day and got him to sign it. Best of luck, Doyle Brunson. So what a great guy, what a great ambassador of the game, and what a living legend. It's pretty cool to be playing poker in the time of Doyle Brunson. I still remember the first time I played Doyle Brunson in a tournament, and it was just really special for me. It's gonna be a sad day when, rest in peace actually means, it actually isn't a troll. So, that Connor dude, thank you, Connor dude. Thanks for joining chat. Thanks for joining the stream. Trevor Corey Lahe. College is for fish. I don't know if college is for fish. I don't know if I would agree with that, but I would say that the way that education is going, it's definitely changing. I think that we will probably get to a point in the future where people aren't going to college anymore, where instead they're just staying home, learning remotely. We'll see. Mathematics. Oh, don't get nitty now, Dutch. 3-bet hammer. Thanks for the advice, Mathematics. Doombringers. This guy is so stupid. Okay, we're on break. Let's take a look at the lobby again.
Did you show him the book? Yeah.
So yeah, I showed him. So we've got 12 players left. We are at 6 players a table. Half of us are making the money. And the other half are going home with that sour taste of defeat. For the money bubble is going to be $104, which is going to be pretty nice. I'm in for $30, so, and first place is what we're looking at, $455. It solves a lot of problems. It'd be a nice confidence boost too. So tomorrow I'm going to be playing the win main event. And it would be nice to go into that tournament after having taken down a tournament tonight on WSOP.com. In poker, confidence is so important. And the more you're going into a situation with confidence, the more likely you are to come out of it on top. This guy, Doombringers. Yeah. Way too much time. Way too much time on his hands. Steve-O. I wonder what percentage of U.S. pros transplanted to Canada, UK, Mexico, etc. I'd guess it was pretty high. I guess it was a pretty high percentage. Maybe as high as 10 to 15%. Let's see. Lucky in VA 85. What do you think of Jay Carver? Lucky one in VA. I like his stream. He's a big reason why I'm on Twitch right now. And guys, again, if you're enjoying the stream, do me a favor. Just click right down there on the follow. It really mean a lot to me. Makes it worthwhile what we're doing here. If you're enjoying yourself, let's keep it going, and maybe follow me on Twitter. Give me a little Twitter love, and give a player some Twitter love. I'm gonna go ahead and do another Twitter blast while I'm on break here. I think let's see how much we've got. Another 2 minutes on break, so getting pretty close to a final table. Live streaming it all on twitch.tv/DutchBoyd. Come join the party. Pound poker, pound WSOP, pound Twitch. Let's take a look at what else we got here. Vegas hose forever Eximois.
Oh, I thought I said Vegas shoes.
Vegas shoes.
LOL.
Vegas shoes forever. That doesn't make any sense. Hey, so Scrub, you gonna play that check shove poker tour coming up in April? I'm flying up to Minnesota for it. Scrub6978 says, "What up, Dutch? From Minnesota, 35 years old, like watching your streams, learning some new stuff. It's a game of learning all the time." I completely agree. I'm constantly learning on my own, constantly working on my own game. I've been doing this for a living for 15 years, and I still, find out new things all the time. There's so many different levels of the game, and it's great because you don't get worse. You're just always getting better and better every time you play. I mean, you probably get to a point where you start going senile, and then you get worse. But for guys in our spot, we're going to be so much better players when we're 55 than we are right now at 35. So, Caucasian Rage. I don't mean any disrespect, but is Doyle Brunson a bigot in real life? I don't know. I couldn't tell you. He's never come off as anything but awesome in my experience with him. But who's to say? He definitely comes from a time and a place where it wouldn't surprise me if he had a little bigot in him. Marmax81 says, Dutch, when I win the Sunday Million tomorrow, can I fly to Vegas and buy you and your lovely wife a steak? Hell yeah, Marmax. I will take that steak. And the guy's back. Look at that. And he's back. Scammed old ladies, I guess. Do you got him or no? I wonder how shit. And here I am just paying too much attention to stuff and not paying attention to my own little inflection point here. Very, very, very tempted to pull the trigger and just re-raise.
The lobby's on. Is the lobby still on? Oh, you got that one. Dutch
yeah, I got it.
Ladies. Sorry.
Okay, so now we have If Not Me, Then Who, making that min raise again. And I feel like we'll just fold. That's tempting. That's very tempting to go ahead and make that 3-bet. I don't think he calls.
Baby, I think all I see is your lobby. Is your lobby off?
Yeah, I took it off.
Oh,
I'm on break.
Were you on break in that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
It's okay.
I'm trying to answer questions and...
NMKCHR Pappy. I think we've played together before a few times. Do you ever play at Wen 510? Pappy. Pappy. I usually play 2-5. I don't play that much 5-10. Still working the kinks out of my live game, and I just don't feel super comfortable in 5-10 yet. But I do love Win and playing the Win Classic main event tomorrow. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and make it 300. Hope to get through. We're still 12 players, 2 out of 12. Wow. And 2 hands in a row. We got an all-in shove. Did it pretty quick. We'll just give him something to think about here for about 16 seconds. Okay. Hippo, I would say the main thing was learning to read young. I think if there's one gift that parents can give their children it would be to read with them at a very early age and teach them to read. You know, we were reading pretty young, and our mom would make us choose between, when we were 3-4 years old. We would take trips to the library all the time, and she'd make us choose between having to take a nap during the day and reading a book. And we would choose reading a book. So I think that's the probably, if I was going to try to draw a line between early childhood and ending up with a law degree at 18, that's probably the most significant thing that happened. Pappy, no, pretty much staying away from Venetian these days.
Okay.
So let's take a look. We're at 11 players now, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Pretty close to an inflection point. We're going to go ahead and start picking on, some of the smaller stacks right now. It's one of those spots where it's not going to matter what we've got. A lot of times a cutoff raise is going to look stronger than a button raise. So we go ahead and make the raise. Hope to just get through. Jesse has enough here where he doesn't need to necessarily just shove with anything. Ben K, he's been pretty aggro anytime we've ever played with him. So it wouldn't surprise us if he came at us. And this is kind of fun. This is going to be a raise as well. And if we do get re-raised by Jesse or Scross, we're calling. We're not folding here. If Scross shoves, we're coming along, and we're going to just try to take him out with what we would hope to be the best hand. We don't have to do it 3 times in a row. We could, though. We are at one of those inflection points where our VPIP really has to be high at this point. What's interesting is the money bubble doesn't burst until 6th. So just making the final table here doesn't actually mean anything. But it's still psychologically, people are going to play a little snugger at this point. So what do we do here? I think that we go ahead. I think we're going to go ahead and actually just see a flop and kind of play after the flop. If he gives us a check here, we'll fire out. Firing out the pot, we'll just fold. It's pocket 4s. Part of me wants to go ahead and shove that pre-flop, and there's nothing wrong with just shoving their pre-flop, but I think it's also okay to see a flop, play some poker, see what he does, and just kind of react to it. We've seen already that he's the kind of person who's going to be raising a lot with strong hands. So when he makes that pot-size bet, we're kind of expecting him to have we're expecting him to have something better than a pair of 4s. Wow, this guy just has way too much time on his hands. We're probably gonna have to do something about that in the future if it keeps on happening.
Well, I've been reporting them. I actually went to his user account. That's why I wasn't around, because I was actually reporting.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
And
for harassment.
This is kind of cool. I think we have Blue Shark Optics watching us. We just got a tweet by Blue Shark Optics saying that they're watching the stream. And if so, I'll just give a shout out to Blue Shark Optics. I've tried a lot of sunglasses at the poker table, and there really doesn't. There's nothing that really comes close to having Blue Shark Optics at the table. They're very cool sunglasses that allow you to actually see everything. I'm really liking the aviator styles, and yeah, it's good to have you here, bud. I hope you're enjoying Twitch. Well, isn't that a fun flop for Ace-10 of clubs? We're going to go ahead and continuation bet the same amount like we would with any hand. And if he comes over the top of us, we're not going anywhere. Now, if he calls and checks the turn, we're probably going to go ahead and take a cheap, take a free card, assuming we don't hit a 10 or an ace or, that miracle club. BK Stackia, thanks for joining the stream. Just again, guys, it looks like there's a lot of guys watching. 268 is pretty good number. I think this might be setting a record for us.
No, it almost hit 3, so almost. Oh, here another one. Damn it. Oh, you got it.
Yeah.
Good. Gosh. Yeah, I'm surprised there's not an admin. Do they usually come in?
I don't know.
Yeah, how many are left
I don't know.
in your poker tournament? You should know.
11.
11? Oh, nice.
I mean, yeah, just load up the lobby here really quick. So now we are the chip leader. It looks like King, Queen, Ace, Ace, who had been the, oh, beautiful. And we actually have a really big hand. So let's go ahead and raise the minimum here. And what we're hoping there is that Broke Finger will come along and re-raise. He didn't fall for it, so we have to settle for what we get. But it's interesting, if we go back and look at this lobby, it looks like King, Queen, Ace, Ace, which was basically the chip leader wire to wire, now is down to 30,000, which is just... we haven't been picking on Bin K and 88's big blind very much, so we'll go ahead and raise with a hand that we actually figure to be best. Jack high suited isn't so horrible against whatever random shit that he's waking up with. Dutch, can you please elaborate a little more on ace rag suited cards? When is the best time to play them? I have a big problem in my own personal game. I feel that it's a tricky hand, and when an ace hits the flop, you are kind of stuck if you are priced in. Poker history, you're right. These ace-8 suited cards, they are really tough to play. And, what ends up happening a lot of the time, we're going to go ahead and make it 4,200 here with the old 6-9 offsuit. What ends up happening a lot of time is you play the... getting 3-1 to make the call... But we'll go ahead and preserve a little mystery. We don't want to get too far out of line. Broke Finger probably doesn't have nothing. A lot of the strength with an ace rag poker history comes with having a blocker. Having an ace in your hand. So you want to be the first to enter the pot, and you want to raise with it, or you want to be playing it very, very early in a tournament and playing it for really its flush value or two pair value. Sometimes when you're in a spot where it looks like you're in a small blind or a big blind and a button or cutoff that's stealing, you can go ahead and re-raise them, 3-betting them, kind of playing it as the best hand. But it is like you said, it's hard to play. A lot of times I would rather have like a 4-3 suited than an ace-3 suited, just because at least with 4-3 suited, when you actually hit the hand, you know where you're at. And a lot of times, like you say, if you have ace-3 suited and you actually hit the ace, you're going to have no idea whether the top pair is good or not. And a lot of times you're going to just be check calling and hoping to induce bluffs or hoping to lose the minimum against bigger aces. So let's take a look at some more of these. To the troll.
Rich Blazer LV looks like he's from Australia.
Rich Blaze LV, first time on here, and you're disrupting it for everyone. First time on this Twitch thing, digging what you're doing. Rich Blaze LV, thanks so much for dropping by. Really means a lot. So here we're gonna go ahead and make the raise. We'll go ahead and make it 4,200. And this is the situation that poker history is talking about. With 5 players at the table, we kind of figured that ace-5 offsuit is going to be the best hand. And so we start with the pre-flop aggression. The fact that we have an ace in our hand makes it stronger because it makes it less likely that one of these other 4 guys is going to wake up with an ace. Okay, so we're doing good. I think that, let's look at the lobby really quick. I think that we're still the chip lead. We're the only player above 100,000.
We got 290 now.
So here we're going to go ahead and,
300 Dutch?
Scross has been raising a lot. We're going to go ahead and raise to 12,000. Hope that he folds. If he doesn't, we're probably calling. Probably calling another 25,000 if he just makes the shove here. Yeah, and this would be pretty cool, guys. This would be pretty cool if we were able to actually take this down. You know, I mean, we we've made a final table every time we've streamed so far, and this would be 3 out of 3 for final tables. But we still haven't taken down that magical win. You know, so it's pretty nice to actually be sitting here with the chip lead, 10 players left. We're really at that inflection point where we're almost there for the final table. Wow. Hey, Michelle, how crazy is that? So we've made a final table all 3 times we've streamed we've been streaming tournaments.
That's awesome.
It's good to run good.
Better.
Let's go. Yeah, I guess I played better when you guys were watching. Ringworm Rash, thanks for joining. And I think that if we make the final table, we're gonna have to change the name of our stream. So we got Jack 2 suited, we got a min raise, and we got a guy who doesn't auto c-bet. So let's go ahead and take a flop with him. Now, if we had actually completely whiffed this, we would have been looking to check to him, and if he didn't c-bet on the flop, we would have been c-betting. We would have been taking the aggression on the turn to try and just trying to take it away. Now we're probably looking in a spot where he doesn't have outs. You know, he probably is looking at overcards with nothing. You know, and 6 of clubs is a pretty good flop. Pretty good. So we go ahead and we'll go ahead and bet a third of the pot. See if he gets a little tricky and raises. Let's see what he was going in there with. It looked like he had pocket 10s, so he actually didn't play that horribly. He did lose a lot of, he lost a lot of money with that hand, but he would have lost more if he would have c-bet like we would have expected him to. I don't like checking back on that flop. But he would have been kind of in a difficult spot where he wouldn't know what to do when we check raise him, because there's a lot of draws out there. There's a lot of hands that I'm going to be check raising that are going to be beating pocket 10s. I'm sure, all's well that ends well. It turned out that it was pretty good for us to, pretty good hand for us. The 2 just was icing on the cake. So I got to think that Scross is getting tired of us raising his big blind, but we're not going to stop, especially when we have hands like Ace Queen offsuit.
They want. Yeah, there we go. The lobby.
Okay, let's take a look at the lobby now. I mean, now we're really kind of pulling ahead of everybody, and we almost would just prefer it stay 5-handed like this forever. It would be nice if everyone just kept on, moving down and moving down and moving down, and we were able to just keep on abusing the other stacks. It also kind of interesting. We see King, Queen, Ace, Ace back in second place. That's a guy who he's really been making a lot of crazy. He must be making a lot of crazy moves that we're just not seeing. Here we're raising for value. If Brokefinger re-raises us, we're gonna really have a tough decision to make. But we're probably not folding. We don't want people to start thinking that they're going to be able to just take the flop from us. So, a little Jack 6 offsuit, which is just rarely the best hand. But do we call 4-3? No. Now we go ahead and give Brokefinger a little bit of his money back. We were betting 4,200 to win 4,000. And what we're going to do, guys, is in 1 minute and 48 seconds, when the blinds increase to 1,200, 2,400, we're going to go ahead and change our pre-flop raise amount to just a flat 2x the big blind. And sorry for not so much interaction, guys. Trying to focus on this final on making this final table with a dominating stack. Who else do we still? We still have Hippo. We still have James DeBear. Imminent Threat. Thanks for joining us. My wee wee is green. Thanks for being here, bud. CWS Vancouver Dutch, you have a history, but I'm liking your show. Thanks, CWS. Glad you're on. Glad you're here with us. We'll go ahead and just give Brokefinger a break at this point. You can't squeeze too much blood from a guy before he starts, just making desperation moves. So we're gonna go ahead and make it 4,200. If one of these guys re-raises it all in, we're making the call. We're gonna go ahead and make the call and hope that we are ahead. And this is a weird bet. This is a weird bet. We would expect him to be making it. We would expect him to be making it a much bigger raise pre-flop, and the fact that he didn't gives me a headache. This is one of those spots where I have no idea where I'm at. Yeah, we're calling with ace-10 offsuit pre-flop there because it doesn't matter what he has, even if he has his beat, which we think that he has his beat here. We're getting the right, we're getting the right just straight pot odds to call against, even a hand like kings or ace-jack, ace-king. But it's still, it makes our head hurt. And now he just fires out 7-7-7-7. We got to think that Ben K and 88 is Ben K and 8-8. So I guess that's like Ben and Kate plus 8. Play on that. We got to think that he's getting frustrated with us just abusing the table. And he's like, okay, there's no difference between 9th and 8th and 7th. Let's go ahead and just, start sticking up for ourselves right here. Which is why I don't hate just shoving over the top of him, but I would almost rather have like a 10-9 suited there instead of an ace-10 if we're going to make that shove, just so that when he snap calls us with ace-jack or ace-queen, we're not looking so, we're not looking in such desperate straits. Anyway, I keep on saying this a lot. Anytime you're just not sure, it's okay to fold. You're going to have enough situations where you feel comfortable with the position and the spot that you're in that if you don't know, just fold. It's okay. There's going to be another hand in a second. So that's a fold, obviously. 9-3 offsuit. Godless Gray. You could change the stream name to Dutch's Final Table Fiasco. Yeah. Shooting for 7th as always. Okay, so here we go ahead and fold. We hope that we hope that Brokefinger folds here too. We kind of want to keep this tension right now. If we could keep this, if we could keep it 10-handed forever, that's pretty ideal for us. And look at that. It's pretty interesting. Brokefinger actually made
we have over 300 viewers now.
Oh my God, this is huge. Guys, thank you so much. We just broke 300 viewers. 300 viewers. 300 viewers. Guys, it's great. Thanks for thanks for spending your Saturday with us. It's pretty awesome, man. It's pretty awesome that you're here.
Oh my gosh.
If you could do me a favor and just
follow.
Click on the follow down there, and if you're enjoying what you're seeing, we're about to make a final table here, which is always pretty fun. We'll go ahead and we're definitely c-betting here. We want to go ahead and let a little time go down. So it's kind of one of those spots where we don't think that he can really stand too much pressure here. But it's also pretty easy for him to be taking this line with an ace. So we're just going to go ahead and give up. I almost want to just open fold so I don't have to show the bullshit hand that I just tried to take his blind with. Okay, we had a lot of outs there on the turn. It would have been kind of fun to have a king there in our 10 high play. Of course, if that happened, we're probably not going to be able to stand much of a bet. So I think it's kind of interesting too to note that Ben K and 88, he actually had pocket fives there, which is a strong holding, and he didn't re-raise pre-flop. So it makes me, kind of give more credibility to his past pre-flop. His pre-flop 3-bet. Yeah, guys, again, thank you so much for, joining us this Saturday night. we're about to make a final table, which is pretty cool. And if you're liking what you're seeing, go ahead and click on that follow button. It will definitely help us. We're trying to get a partnership with Twitch, so the more followers we have, the more likely that is. Okay, so we go ahead and raise here, assuming that King 10 offsuit is the best hand. We're not going anywhere if he shoves. Getting close to 2-1. This is pretty perfect. Now we're just hoping to catch up. Come on, King 10. You can do it. There we go. Final table time. Let's go ahead and edit this stream. Another WSOP final table with Dutch Boyd. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and raise the minimum. This is kind of a spot where if Milky Cereal shoves or Binion shoves, we're gonna think about calling. It's King Queen is a strong hand, but we're probably not gonna actually call. We'd be thinking about calling. Okay, and once again he makes this weird re-raise, and it just kind of makes my head explode. So he checks, gives us a free card, which makes me think he's got some sort of hand like an ace jack, ace queen. We probably started this hand off dominated. So we'll go ahead and see if we can't get him to lay it down. We'll bet a little less than half the pot. And I'm pretty sure that we get him to lay the best there. I think that he probably had like a better hand than us pre-flop. He probably had like an ace 10, ace jack, ace queen, ace king maybe. And we're betting there, trying to make it look like we're betting for value. And I probably would have folded too. It's very hard to make a call with ace high. So guys, thanks so much for joining us again. We're at 322, which is pretty awesome. It's pretty awesome to be here twitching with you guys. And it's also pretty awesome to, we're 100%. We're batting 1,000 when it comes to actually making final tables and twitching. Maybe it is true. Maybe people play better with an audience. So this is kind of a spot where, really we're just hoping for blood. Doesn't matter who wins. We're just hoping for blood. And really we'd kind of like to keep, we have such a dominating chip stack that would really kind of like to keep, this tension as long as possible. So we're going to go ahead and be, our VPIP is going to be really high. That being said, we're not going to, just be raising any two cards, but certainly when we have a hand like ace 9 offsuit, which figures to be best, we're putting some chips in. And we got king queen ace ace. We don't know how he plays, but we do know that he was pretty much leading the tournament wire for wire this whole time. So we're gonna go ahead and fire out a bet. We got top pair top kicker, and we're gonna go ahead and c bet the same exact amount.
That you're in the final table bet?
No, not yet.
Sorry for interrupting.
It's okay. It's okay. So he made a quick check call. We go ahead and continue with our what you would have to assume is just standard c betting, but we actually have a monster hand here with top pair top kicker. So let's see what he does. Wow, he just shoves all in. It's a weird one, boys. This is a weird one. The 2 doesn't change anything. The 4 doesn't change anything. It's such a polarizing move. He's either on air, sitting here with like a queen 10 offsuit or something, and decides to just bluff off his case money, or he's got top pair top kicker beat. We're gonna go ahead and give him credit for having a hand. If he just bluffed us off the best, it's okay. We can be bluffed a little bit. I don't think he did have the, I don't think he did bluff us off the best hand though. I think that there's a pretty good chance that he just flopped a monster hand. He could have just, he could have flopped the straight. He could have flopped, a set and decided that he wanted to make sure that a straight draw didn't get there. All those make sense in his head. He also could have flopped an overpair, and again wanted to make sure that he felt safe with his hand. It's such a polarizing line that he took that we really have to put him on either a really, really big hand or really, really weak hand, because he's not going to be value betting, value bet shoving there, a queen 9 or a king 9. So what does he have? Probably like a top 2 pair, or some sort of hand where he's hoping that we have an overpair and we're going to just call him. Let's go ahead and do a little Twitter shout out. If you guys are following me on Twitter, I'm at Dutch Boyd on Twitter. It would be awesome if I could get a little tweet love. Give me a little Twitter love. Give me a retweet here. Live streaming my third straight final table on Twitch.tv. Come join the future of poker.
Can you change your seat?
Oh yeah, I can. And this is going to be a raise, and if one of these guys comes over the top of us, we are definitely not going anywhere with an ace-queen suited. That's huge hand for us. Huge hand. It makes the normal shit that we've been re-raising with just look super weak in comparison. So ideally, how do we play a big stack at a final table like this? Our VPIP should be much higher than anybody else's at the table. VPIP, we talked about that tonight. VPIP stands for the percentage, voluntarily put money into the pot. So anytime you put money into the pot where you're not in the big blind or the small blind, that counts towards your VPIP. Super aggro players are going to have a VPIP of, anytime you see a VPIP more than 50%, this is a game that you want to sit in. Because it's pretty much impossible to beat poker at, if you let your VPIP get over 30%. But when you're in these special kind of situations where you have, we're the only person above 100,000 at this point, and our VPIP needs to be higher than the rest of the table. Even so, we'd kind of like to have our.
What is it paid? Is it?
Yeah. Okay. So let me get the lobby up. So the lobby is, first it's going to be 455, and it starts paying at 6. This is frustrating. Getting 1.5 to 1. We're going to go ahead and make the fold here because there's no way that Jack 4 suited is good. And we're just going to kind of make a little mental note that for all the talk about VPIP, we're still not quite at that inflection point that we'd like to be. The key inflection point here is when the bubble busts. You'll notice here it pays 6, so there's no difference between going out 9th, 8th, or 7th. And what that basically means is if you're in one of those spots, Milky Cereal, Fuku 51, If Not Me Then Who, and Freezer, then you're not really going to be that worried about putting all of your chips in, because at this point these guys aren't going to be able to just fold their way to the money, right? So really, ideally, where we would be right now is we would have 7 left, and we would be, basically the same chip position, the only person above 100,000. When it gets to 7, that's really when the true psychological inflection point is going to hit, and that's when our VPIP really just needs to just be off the charts. Basically, raising any 2, any hand, over and over and over and over. So let's try not to. Let's not try to blow our whole stack before we can get to that point, because chances are we're going to be able to have a lot of really positive EV situations if we can just kind of maintain the status quo. So here we got to expect that he's going to c-bet, and we go ahead and raise. And if he shoves, we don't love it. We don't love it if he shoves, but we're not going anywhere. There's There's so much equity here where we're hoping 6. There we go. That'll do it. And that's how you crack aces, boys. Whew. Dutch, you're playing standard donk MTT style. You're at the final table. Real pilot, yo. Thanks, pilot. Thanks. Real pilot, yo, says, Dutch, you're playing standard donkey multi MTT style. You're at the final table. I think, the point that he's making here is that you can't, in poker, you hear that saying all the time, the cream rises to the top, right? What he's saying is that the guys that finally make it to the final table, they're not going to, they're not going to fall for the same stupid tricks that, that you see getting here, and it's a good point. Okay, listen, guys, this is it. What do we got? On the 7-8-9 XX board, you think he just check calls flop and turn and then open ships river with a monster? Feel king 10, queen 10 type hands are very likely. Willie, I think that Willie, that was definitely in his range. So we're raising pretty much any 2 cards at this point, and we're going to keep on raising and raising and raising and raising. This is the spot that we like. This is when we're going to keep on putting pressure. We are on the stone cold bubble. King, queen, ace, ace. This guy's just been playing so crazy that I think that we can go ahead and give him at least one little spot to make a move on.
Are you going to be playing the online WSOP tournament?
Who asked that?
They asked if you were going to be on Twitch.
Who asked?
BK Stackia.
So yeah, BK Stackia, thanks for joining on. Thanks for joining us on Twitch. I'm probably not going to be playing that event because they have a stud high-low event later on in that day that I really want to be playing. I might, though. I might cancel the stud high-low and play the online event just so that I can Twitch and chill out and hang out with you guys. I just think that, for me personally, I feel like my edge is stronger in live settings where I can actually see my opponents and get all those types of voice inflection tells, blink frequency tells, extension tells, lift tells, all those kind of things that you hear about in the Navarro books and the Zachary Elwood books. I feel like those kind of reading tells is a huge part of my game. So I think that I'm probably going to be better off playing the stud high-low event.
Bravos.
JP Rivers 79 says, "Nice stream, man. Excellent analysis. Thanks for joining it. Thanks for joining us on here on Twitch, J. Rivers. Enjoying it here. So listen, guys, we have 360 people now watching the stream. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Just go ahead and click on that follow button. We're trying to get that Twitch partnership, and that would just be so sick to have a subscribe button down there. My dream is to be able to actually get paid just to chill out and play poker and not really have to sweat so much if I win or lose. I feel like, if people are getting paid to play Hearthstone, maybe we can get paid to play poker too. So do me a favor and just hit that follow button. It means so much and it takes so little time. What else do we got here? So we got King, Queen, Ace, Ace coming at us again. He's playing like a big stack without the stack. I'm very glad that Fuck You actually made that move because now we don't have to play back at him. So we'll go ahead and give it a fold. AWP John, you're the luckiest SOB I've ever seen. In more ways than one, buddy. In more ways than one. Okay. What's the boom? You watching did I think that in the past we just cracked aces. Okay, so this is going to be a raise, and we'll go ahead and raise just normal 3 times the big blind here. If he re-raises, we're folding. We're not trying to bust anybody. We want to keep this inflection point we want to keep the tension right here as long as possible. Ideally, what would happen once the money bubble does burst is you'd see, you'd see me having, stolen 7 or 8, big blinds in a row, over 300,000, and everybody else under 50,000. That's kind of what we're trying to do here. So we're not necessarily trying to bust people, but we will. We're not going to shy away from confrontations. So, with the stack that we have, especially Ben K and 88, we've played enough with this guy. If he raises, we're not going anywhere. For the same reason that earlier we called Butters with 10-9 suited, we're calling Ben K and 88. And actually, if at this point with these stack sizes, if Ben K and 88 comes over the top of us, we're coming right over the top of him. So let's see how it goes. We're going to go ahead and raise this. Freezer, has already made that, that shove before, so we'll take a look. Anytime someone makes a shove against you when you're stealing their blind, I feel like they're less likely to make that same shove down the line. So here we are with the old 2s. Give it another raise. 3 hands in a row. And we're not folding. We're not folding if one of these guys comes over with this with the stack size we have and the dead money in there. We're not folding. So let's go ahead and try 4 times in a row. Let's just see what happens. Let's see if one of these guys actually stands up to it. This is going to be kind of like Brandon Cantu at his final table, the WBT Shooting Stars. And we actually flop something. We actually flop a 5-high flush draw, which is not so shabby. So we go ahead and fire out a C-bet against Fucky 51 and hope that he has nothing, which he does. I Grind This says, nice stream, man. Keep it up. I was streaming earlier. I was going to send you my viewers, but you're taking a break or something. Good luck, good luck. Thanks for joining us, I Grind This. It's always awesome to make a final table. It's also pretty cool to have made 3 final tables, 3 streams in a row. So what are we going to do here? The auto play here is to go ahead and raise a small blind limp. And that's what we are going to do almost every single time. But since we're at the final table, it's like what the guy says, we're at a final table, so start playing like it. We're going to give Fuck You 51 enough credit to know that we know that if he limps there, we're almost always going to be raising, and so we don't have to raise. Now we have Binion coming in. We haven't really heard from too many other guys here.
If you could break it down to 3 main categories to pay attention to in the live game tendencies for opponents, what would it be?
3 main categories I pay attention to in live game tendencies. The first would have to be betting patterns and bet sizing. That's going to be the most consistent and the most information you're going to be able to find on somebody is when they vary the amount they bet pre-flop based on strength or weakness, and if they vary the amount they bet post-flop based on either fitting or not. So that's going to be the main thing. Second is going to be timing. What I really like to look at is how long they look at their hole cards. When you're, if you vary the amount of time that you look at your hole cards, you're inevitably going to fall into patterns where you're looking at aces quickly and you're looking at 6-5 offsuit, staring at it wishing it was something else, or vice versa. One of the things about tells is it's very rare to just be able to peg something cold and say, okay, well, this tell always means this. An increased blink frequency always means that the guy has a weak hand. It's just not the case. What is the case is you're going to have some sort of tell that you notice a difference between strength, and when that happens, now we hope that beautiful. Okay, so we don't love busting anybody at this point, but we're just fine with this. This is actually pretty much the spot we wanted to be in, was having over 300,000 and having 5 stacks who all had less than 50,000. We actually, I think at this point, have more chips than everyone else at the table combined. So pretty good spot to be in, guys. This is going to be one of those situations where we're going to keep on we're going to keep on applying pressure and keep on hoping to actually wake up with big hands like pocket jacks against Fuck You 51. This is one of those spots where we don't love it, but we're not going anywhere. We're going to go ahead and fire out 9,000, hope that he didn't just catch a king. Yeah, that's pretty ugly. Pretty ugly. Nice hand. One of the nice things about being able to turn over pocket jacks in that spot, though, is that it gives more legitimacy to our pre-flop raises. We would have much preferred to have not lost to a set there, and I think we can make a pretty good argument that maybe the right move was to just check back on the turn, because it did kind of feel like he was trapping. It did feel like he was trying to set us up for something, but there's a lot of hands too where he can. Where he can think he's best and he's not. If he has like an 8-10 or a 9-7 there, he's probably going to think that he's in good shape when he's just crushed. So we don't love it. It always hurts to lose a pot, but we are in the money at a final table with the chip lead. We no longer can say we have more than the rest of the table combined, but we definitely have. We definitely have enough where even the top player here at the table can't hurt us too bad. So we're going to keep on, we're going to have our VPIP up. All these guys are, at this point, have to start thinking about, third and second place money as opposed to sixth place money. Let's go ahead and bring up the lobby and see what those differences are right after we raise this hand. King Jack offsuit is a pretty good hand to have. We've got King, Queen, Ace, Ace, taking a flop with us. That's not really a flop that we're going to be able to get him to fold with a C bet. So even though we would almost always auto fire there, I just think that he's calling with better, and I don't think that he's letting it go. So we'll just go ahead and give it up. Let's take a look at the difference between sixth and third. So you can see right here, sixth place is $103. The difference between sixth, fifth, fourth, third, not really that much. It's really that third and second is going to be really the psychological inflection point. So we're really at a point now where we can expect these guys to open up their games and not care so much about going out sixth as opposed to fourth or third. I don't think anyone's really going to be squeezing around for until it kind of gets a little later on in the tournament. So what that means is, even though we really would like to be in a spot where we just have so many more chips, but we're not going to take off the pressure. We have enough of a dominating chip position that we can go ahead and make moves like 3 times the big blind here and expect that Binion's not going to want to just give away 100,000 with stupid hands like 10-6 offsuit. So Sisty's Up says, "Thank you for answering, boss." No problem. I'm happy to do it. I appreciate you spending your time. And look at this, we're over 400 followers. Wow. Not followers, viewers. We have more than 400 people watching this stream right now, which is just huge. Thank you so much for joining us, everybody. We're going to go ahead and raise Jack 10. Jack 10 offsuit is the kind of hand that we kind of like to see flops with in position against people. And since the last time we raised King, Queen, Ace, Aces, big blind, we didn't continuation bet. Here we would have planned to continuation bet any flop, but we're especially going to continuation bet when we actually hit the flop that we're looking at. Top pair is usually going to be good there. So guys, look, thank you so much for joining us, and if you haven't already, go ahead and click on that follow button. I think the more followers we have, I think it makes it a lot easier to get these Twitch partnerships, and I would so love if we were able to get one of those. Let's go ahead and we got another guy to ban, I guess. Very quick. Examol with a band hammer. Super quick. Nice job.
Boom.
So we got Binion coming over here with a min raise again. I think that there's a pretty decent chance that Binion's just 2, 3, 4, 5. I didn't quite see who we lost and how we lost it. For some reason I thought that we were still playing six-handed. Okay. So now you can see that they're kind of opening up their game a little bit. We're going to go ahead and kind of stay back, and our plan here is to go ahead and get go ahead and get to where we are three-handed. And then I'm gonna show you guys some kind of cool things about closing off a tournament. One of the concepts that you have to have at this point in the tournament is to pick your stacks that you're going to be picking on. Pick one or two guys at the table that you can pick on and know that you can get away with. And the rhyme that I want you guys to kind of take away from is, don't attack a drowning stack. Look around the table, and if you see somebody who's drowning, and here we're looking at King, Queen, Ace, Ace, and Ben and Kate and 8. Those are the stacks that you don't really want to pick on. These are the stacks that feel like they're they don't have anywhere to go, and they're going to reach out and they're going to pull you down with them, and they're desperate. They're the desperate stacks. The stacks you kind of want to pick on are the ones that aren't feeling desperate. Fuck You 51 and Binion. Those are the ones that we're looking at. Kiplo says Hearthstone is much harder than poker. Magic is even worse. Hardest card game in the world. I do love MDGU and Hearthstone.
Comment about zoning out.
What do you feel about your success on the streams being due to hyper self-aware state that comes with hosting one of these things? In other words, not as much opportunity to zone out. 9 iron 12. I think that could easily be the case. I wish I could say that my in the money percentage is 80%, and that I make 100% that I make final tables 100% of the time. That's just not true. The truth of it is that I think that people play differently when they're being watched, and in the case where you actually have to explain what you're doing to 400 random people who are watching you, there's no doubt that I think that streaming probably makes players play better. So I would agree with that. So here, I think that we can go ahead and make a 3-bet. We go ahead and make it up to 20,000, and it's going to put Fuck You in a real awkward position, where if he calls, he's going to be playing out of position, but he also has too many chips to go ahead and re-raise. We haven't 3-bet this whole time. So we got to go ahead and give him credit for actually having a hand. We don't want to just snap fold. But we're not calling with Queen 9, so frustrating. It's always kind of lame when that happens. But we are going to try to 3-bet a little bit more, especially against some of these bigger stacks like Fuck You and Binion. And here, Ben K and 88 shoves. It's a call. We don't love it, but we're going to call. We're getting 2.5 to 1, hoping for a coin flip or maybe even being ahead. And we get the coin flip that we're looking for. We get the 9, no 3, and that's great. We said before we don't like coin flips, but it's not really a coin flip when you already have so much dead money in there. We're getting 1.5 to 1 there. And when he wakes up with a hand like pocket threes, if we know that's what he's got, we're just always going to be, we're always calling there. So, yeah, we played it perfect. It's also kind of interesting, in his spot, he probably could have won the pot there if he would have, if he would have made some sort of weird stop and go play. We didn't actually hit the 9 until the turn, so we're not sticking around if he makes the call and then fires out on the flop. So yeah, I like Staples. I do. I think that his stream is pretty awesome, pretty good. So again, we're going to go ahead and put a little pressure on the stacks that are. I guess we fold here. we're going to avoid putting pressure on king, queen, ace, ace. We're going to put pressure on Binion and fuck you 51. And we're going to try to do it in situations where we have, you know, hands that we like seeing flops with. We're going to try to take the pre-flop aggression. Jack 6 off suit. So in this situation, I don't think if I was in fuck you 51's spot, I'm letting king, queen, ace, ace see a flop there without putting his stack in. And it might have been a trap, but I probably would have fallen for that trap. So here, normally we're going to go ahead and raise, but we're going to go ahead and call. And I think ace 7 suited actually is one of those hands that is okay to see a flop with. If he c-bets here, do we check raise? No, I think we just let it go. And we're on break. Down to 4. Break. I'm going to go ahead and shoot another little Twitter thing. Again, guys, thanks so much for joining me.
Can you watch that while I take June out?
Yeah, absolutely.
Come on, June.
It's really awesome being here with you guys. I'm going to go ahead and bring up the chat. So XX Anthony 619XX says, I watch him play Hearthstone. That guy is 100%. Comparing Hearthstone to poker, such smart, much intelligence. Poker isn't that hard. It's the fact that you're applying for money that is hard. I mean, I don't know, Zoda. This is the truth of it. Okay, poker is a hard game. There's a lot going on, and you know, there's levels in poker like there's levels in anything. I don't think that it's fair to say that Hearthstone is a harder game to play at the highest levels than poker, because I think that really what you see is the best Magic the Gathering players and the best Hearthstone players, they all gravitate towards poker just because the rewards are better. You look at the top tier poker players, and you know they just make so much more money than the top tier Hearthstone and Magic the Gathering players that it's just kind of silly. You know, and it's kind of sad that that's the case because, you know, in my opinion, I think games like Magic the Gathering and Hearthstone are more fun to play, definitely more fun to watch. But to say that it's just, you know, at its core a more difficult game, I don't think that's quite true. There's a lot of people who try to play poker and play it well, and out of the millions of people who are trying to make money at poker, you only have maybe a few thousand that really kind of gravitate up and are actually able to do it. You know, maybe 10,000 real poker players, pro poker players in the world right now. A lot more are trying. You know, and so I think that, you know, I think that poker is a difficult game, especially when you're playing it live. There's just so many levels to it, and you know, psychologically, it really messes with you when you're winning and losing, you know, your weekly and monthly salaries in single hands. So BK Stackia, Dutch, what events are you looking forward to playing this summer other than the main? I'm definitely looking forward to playing the like the mixed games, the 12-game mix, the 8-game mixes. I like the horse events. Mathematics, you better bink this, Dutch. I'm going to try, buddy. You know, I'm sitting here. I'm looking pretty good. Have about 50% of the chips in play. CWS Vancouver, this will be a killer. I would love to. You know, this might be it, you guys. We might be seeing my very first live Twitch tournament win. You know, so far I've made final tables every single time I've twitched, but I haven't been able to actually break through to that W. So we'll see. Stackopoly, Colossus will be a shitstorm. Be sure to reg early. Yeah, no doubt about it. But there are 4 starting days, so you know if you miss early, you're still going to be able to get in on a later reg on a later flight on Friday or Saturday. But that's going to be a fun one.
Did you link to Facebook?
No.
You should link your.
Yeah, guys, if you're on Facebook, you know, find me on Facebook.
You need to link the channel to your Facebook.
Oh, yeah, I'm pretty sure I have.
Okay. But yeah, if you guys have Facebook, you can follow.
Come watch on Twitch TV /Dutch Void. Pound poker. Pound the future. The future. I do love me some Twitch, guys. Thanks so much for joining us. We got Joseph F., Thanks for thanks for keeping the chat going, you guys. Come on, any two under the gun here, Dutch. Sticky Rice won the legend. I don't know if I really should be taking poker advice from a guy with Sticky Rice 1 in his username. I don't know. I do love watching Sticky Rice 1 play on Twitch, though. He's definitely got that entertainment value that is just great. So, hey, yeah, guys, we're at 425. Is that right? 425 viewers. This is awesome. Thanks for and also thanks for showing the follow love. If you're watching the stream and you're enjoying it, we're now at 542 followers, which is just incredible. I can't tell you how much it means to me, guys. Butt Farm Poker. What's going on off camera? Off camera, Butt Farm is we have a little Shih Tzu poodle, the same dog that Kurt Vonnegut had, and she had to take a little break as well. So yeah, we're in pretty good shape here, guys. We are back. Let me just go ahead and show you the lobby real quick. I probably should have been doing that while we were on break. So the next one out is going to get $143, and then we're seeing a $50 increment. We've got a limper, which I feel like maybe we go ahead and punish. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see if he's willing to go the whole way with whatever stupid hand he's got. We'll go ahead and C-bet, same amount. And if he shoves 45,000, we're probably making a fold here. But it's going to be pretty hard for him to continue with the hand, if he wasn't setting us up for, losing 24,000 on basically a stone cold bluff. We don't love it, but it's okay. It doesn't actually hurt us, and if anything, putting him back up to about where these other guys are at actually allows us to, put a little more pressure on them and him. The idea is we want all of the stacks to kind of go down together, rather than one of these guys jump ahead of us. So, interesting flop. Obviously we would much rather the ace not be there, and he's firing out. We're gonna go ahead and make a call here. That's a pretty good turn, so now we're probably ahead of whatever he was doing. And if he checks, we're firing out a bet. We're definitely calling, so that's good. Now we're in a spot where we get to show you something kind of cool here. So with 3 players, what you're trying to do is not knock one of these guys out. What you're also not trying to do is have them knock out each other. What we're trying to do is get them to go down in equal proportions while our stack goes up. There's a pretty big jump at this point between third and second. Let's just go ahead and look at the lobby. We're looking at a $100 jump. So we look at who the big stack is between them, and that's who we go after. And we stay away from the smaller stack. Now, a lot of times our cards are going to dictate that we raise, like right now. And you'll also notice that there's not really a clear leader between these two guys. So yeah, let's just go ahead and check behind. This is actually one of those spots where we figure to be a pretty big favorite. And we're going to try to induce a bluff here. If he fires out a bet, we're calling with ace high. Yeah. And it's good. It's always nice to be able to make a call with no pair and it be right. And once again, we have a situation where our cards just kind of dictate that we have to play aggressively. So we'll go ahead and make it 24,000 and see if he's willing to go all in. If he does, we're not folding. So we're not going after king, queen, ace, ace so much as we are against Binion at this point. And really would like to see one of them kind of break away from the other. Once one of them has something like a 32,000 stack, an 8 big blind stack, and the other one has like 120,000 stack, then it's a lot easier for us to apply pressure to the bigger stack where he feels like he's got second place locked up. And the smaller stack who feels like he already has third place locked up can, and the best case scenario is, the big stack knocking out the second biggest stack. That's really kind of what we're hoping. And this is what happened. Now if, well, it doesn't look like we're going to get a shot to play the way that we want to play. So that's fine. Here we are, heads up with the chip lead. And this is what it's all about. We got a 2-to-1 advantage here. And again, guys, I really apologize for not being able to, I know this isn't as interactive as I'd like it to be. So I apologize for that. But we are sitting, at a final table. So really just trying to focus on winning this thing. We're going to go ahead and c-bet. And once it gets heads up, we're pretty much raising 90-something% of our buttons, and we're going to be making a min raise. And we're gonna hope that he falls into the trap of playing too timidly. The worst thing that you can do when you're heads up is not play not play back enough. So far he's been kind of falling into that too timid trap. So we're gonna go ahead and give him credit for having a hand, and we're gonna hope that that kind of 3-bet there is gonna be kind of a rarity. Part of me wants to go ahead and just call here, but there's enough of a chance that we can go ahead and get it all in here with a in a dominating position that we can go ahead and make the 3-bet and hope that he just shoves with his ace jack, ace 10. So we make the min raise. We're gonna go ahead and try to just chip him away and chip him away. Not the way that it's actually going right now. I really like our shot, not just because of our chip stack, but because of the fact that I don't really feel like he's playing enough hands heads up. This is really the important part of the tournament where you have to adjust and you have to start playing more hands than you otherwise would. So we're gonna go ahead and just let him continue to hang himself here, and when he didn't, let's go ahead and fire out half the pot and hope that, well, we'll do 3/4. Maybe we can get a call from like an ace 10 or king queen. I feel like he's making the mistake that we want him to be making, which is not playing enough hands and not playing aggressively enough. He really needs to be he pretty much needs to be playing every big blind that we bet into him. And when a flop like this hits where it comes ace 10 10, he needs to be willing to kind of push back a little bit when he has hands like, I don't know, king jack, king 8. If he has like a lot of times if he has something like a 6-7 on an ace 10 10 board, he needs to be willing to go ahead and give it a little check raise and try to get us off of whatever BS hand we're raising with preflop. It looks like he's kind of adjusted a little bit. He was making a lot of folds. Now he made that raise pretty quick, and this is going to be a check raise. So we'll go ahead and check. Hope that he didn't hit a pair. Hope that he goes ahead and continuation bets, and hope that he doesn't just shove over the top of us. Now, if he does shove over the top of us, are we going to call for the other 120,000? It's tempting, it's tempting, but no, we're not going to make this call. We've got to be behind. So. We'll go ahead and fold because we don't want him to think that we're raising every single hand. And 9-3 offsuit is at the very, very bottom of our range, where if we're not going to just play every single hand, that's the kind of hand that we're folding pre-flop. 7 suited, pretty good, pretty good. Once again, guys, thanks for joining us. This is pretty awesome to be this this deep. It is. So let's go ahead and fire out. Kind of interesting, you'd almost kind of expect him to check raise if he had something that could beat ace high. This might be one of those spots where he fires out a bet and we try to make a hero call again. It feels like we're ahead. I feel like he has got like a king, queen, king, jack. So nope, his value betting a 3. Wow. See, that, my friends, is troublesome. That was a pretty good value bet. Pretty good value bet, so we don't like seeing our opponents make good moves. It makes us kind of doubt ourselves. It makes us think that we're not going to be able to just take the chip away route that we would be able to if he was just completely clueless. We are at a final table on WSOP.com, which is full of local Vegas pros, so we'll see. I mean, we still like our position here. We still have him, pretty well out chipped. And when we do finally get it in, we're going to be able to fade one loss and still have enough chips to come back if it comes to that. And I don't think it's going to come to that, guys. I think that we're probably going to be able to keep applying pressure. See, like in this situation, he's not playing as tight as he's not playing as loose as he really needs to. He really needs to be taking that flop, getting 3-1. There's just not really a lot of big blinds that you can afford to fold here. So is Ace Jack 2 the kind of flop that he's looking for? I think it is. I think that he's playing a little more snug than we are. So obviously he has the best hand, but the question is, can we get him off of it? In that case, I don't think we can. Now, this is a very wet board, but we actually did hit it too. There's a lot of hands here where we are ahead, and there's a lot of hands here where, where he's going to continue calling. So, do we make a value bet here with Queen 9? I think that we do. Yeah, I think that we go ahead and fire out 40,000 and hope that he calls with like Jack 10, Jack 9, or worse, Queen. And for you guys at home watching, it turns out that he had Queen 5. So yes, worst Queen. Where's that Queen on the river, guys? This is nice, and at some point he's going to have to get it all in pre-flop. Flops like that kind of make me wish that we had just gone ahead and fired re-raised him pre. Can we ever be ahead here? Probably not. Wow. And he makes the call on the turn with a pair of 2s. That actually could have really hurt, because I don't think that he's going anywhere pre-flop. I think that he is going to go the whole way with any pocket pair. Now we're getting re-raised. We can go ahead and fold 10-7 off. Yeah, I think that if we re-raise him with that ace queen there, then we end up losing a pretty sizable pot, and we end up losing the chip lead, because I think that we probably end up getting it all in. And so let's go ahead and make it 26,000 and hope that he completely whiffed the flop. And we're check raising for value with that hand. One thing that I think Binion has been good at doing is he's been very good at c betting. He hasn't been making the mistake of giving up that c bet stab after we get it in. So I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken here, that we are actually now in a better chip position than when we started our heads up match. Wow. And this is kind of a crazy little flop for 5-6. Do we check raise here? I think that we just go ahead and call and hope that he has some sort of awesome hand like 10-3, where if we do hit our 7 or our 2, we're able to just get it all in. We hit the 7, Now we just hope that he has a monster. We check to him, hope that he fires out. You know, he's shown that he's willing to value bet very light. In that situation, it kind of sucked. It turns out that he had 9-6, so he actually had second pair, and he decided not to value bet, which is just like, you know, he didn't fall for it, which is a little frustrating. So let's see, we're at 2,500, 5,000, so he's sitting here with 26 big blinds. Still not to the point where he doesn't have play. You know, he can still feel like, we're going to go ahead and check here, because I think a lot of times an ace is going to check. And now we'll go ahead and fire out 10,000. When we check behind, it makes us look like we do have a weak ace. You know, it's so obvious that anybody should just go ahead and fire out a c-bet. So sometimes, sometimes you mix it up just a little bit. You know, when you're actually heads up for the tournament, you have to start kind of playing that level game. So here the problem is if we check raise, he's not going to put us on a 5, because a 5 slow plays here. So we go ahead and just check call. We go ahead and check again and expect him to check behind. And now we can go ahead and fire out a half pot bet and hope that he, puts us on a 5. Nice hand, Binion, and nice call with the ace high. So yeah, we're not playing with an idiot at this point. It's frustrating. We would much rather be playing someone we could just kind of boss around. And he's not really letting us play that game where he just has no shot at winning. He's doing a good job. Hats off to you, Binion, if you're actually watching the stream and trying to pick up some information on us. I feel like you're playing pretty well. I think that you've played pretty well to get here, and now that you're actually here, doing pretty good. So this is definitely at the bottom of our range here. Go ahead and check. And we'll just fold. We completely whiffed the flop. We don't really need to, and this is at the bottom of our range too. 10-3 offsuit is a fine hand to just throw away. We don't really need to go anywhere with that. We're trying to play about 85% of our hands on the button there. We're still going to have hands in the bottom 15%. So Jack 9 offsuit. We hit a 9. We don't love it, but we're also not going to go anywhere. We hit a jack, and is there a chance that we are... What did he call us with? I'm so curious what he called us with on the flop that he decided not to. Let's go ahead and see real quick. So he had a queen jack, so he ended up. We'll go ahead and just fold here. He ended up flopping a straight draw and then having the discipline to go ahead and just check the turn, which it's pretty good pot control, really. Ask me if I'm feeling nervous about this guy. No, not really. I mean, we are probably sitting in a pretty good position. Does he automatically... You know what? I don't feel good about that flop. I just feel like... we were getting set up there. We'll go ahead and raise this one. This is at the very lower end of our range, but it's okay. 3 times we've done this at the World Series of Poker in the summer, and 3 times we've been able to come up on top. We've only had 1 second, and it wasn't in this type of no-limit situation. In tribute to you, Doyle, we're going to go ahead and play this and see what happens. The nice thing here is when he c-bets and we check raise him, it's going to look a little suspicious. So we'll go ahead and... It's going to look like a flush draw. We'll go ahead and check raise. Hope that he just, folds, which is just fine. That's just fine. 3-1 now. which is, plan is we're doing fine. We're doing just fine. He's going to start getting to the point where he's going to have to get it in pre-flop. So that's a pretty wet board, and he checked pretty quickly, which makes me think he's going for a check raise. We'll go ahead and check behind again and just hope that our our pair of nines is good. Yeah, so he was going for a check raise there. This is kind of what I was saying before. I think that if we bet there on the flop, he almost certainly re-raises us. He was definitely going for a check raise, and I said this a little earlier. The quicker someone checks, the more likely they are to have actually connected with it. So we're going to go ahead and call rather than check raise, because we actually have a hand that probably he's only looking at like 3 outs here. He might have like a king 10 or a king jack. He also might have a queen. If that's the case, we're going to be happy that we didn't make the check raise. Just basically check calling for so he did have the queen. That could have been a much more hurtful pot if we had played that a little differently. So we go ahead and make the raise here. We go ahead and check raise, and we go ahead and fire out the C bet. Hope he doesn't check raise us. If he does check raise, do we take a shot here? Now we do have 4 outs, so yeah, we're gonna go ahead and take a shot, because if a queen actually hits, we win. And this could happen, where now we even have more outs, and maybe he was just on some sort of weird nothing. So that, boys and girls, is how you take down a pot with jack high. Okay, so if he comes over the top of us here, I feel like he's starting to feel like he needs to come over the top. And we're not quite ready to just get it all in there with pocket 4s, so we'll go ahead and just see a flop and kind of see what happens. He fires out 30,000. Not quite the flop we're looking for. I mean, we're kind of thinking that he's 3-betting probably with any 2 court cards and probably any decent size ace. So when an ace actually hits, it makes our hand quite a bit weaker. So this is probably going to be a check raise. We're actually check raising for value here. So we actually think that our ace high is the best hand. We kind of figure that he's going to be continuation betting with anything. And it's hard for him to continue with the hand when we check raise and there's a paired board, because he's got to be thinking, shoot, I could just be drawing stone cold dead here. So he's been doing a lot of 3-betting. He's been doing a lot of 3-betting. And hats off to you, buddy, for taking for putting on the pressure. This is going to be kind of a fun flop to check raise. It's very wet, so he can put us on a lot of draws and try to kind of get us off of them. Yeah, we're gonna call. If he's got a pair of 10s beat, then he's got it, and he doesn't. Hold, and there it is, boys. We got a winner. We got a winner. That's going to do it for us. We are first out of 58 players on WSOP.com with the old 10-2. You gotta love winning it with the Doyle Brunson. Good times, good stuff. I'm gonna go ahead and keep the stream going for just a few minutes and just kind of have a little wrap up here. But thanks for joining us. It looks like we just broke 500 viewers, which is just awesome. Just awesome.
You should screenshot it, maybe. Screenshot it and then share it on Twitter.
Okay. Yeah, you know what? I am going to do that. That's a great idea. So
Make sure you tell everyone to follow and all that
Yeah.
snazzy stuff. And maybe you want to answer questions and follow up
Yeah.
at the end.
You know, guys,
Well,
if
4 minutes.
if you haven't yet, go ahead and please just go ahead and hit that follow button. It would really mean a lot to me. And I'm gonna go ahead and open it up to comments and questions, and actually kind of try to look at the chat here. Let me just go ahead and make this chat bigger. We can go ahead and shut that off, and we're here with. This is it. There's really not. There's not. Not much more to say. You don't really have to second guess a win. So it's going to be pretty nice to go back to. Go back to the. Go to bed thinking. With a win fresh on your mind as I go into this Win Classic main event tomorrow. So, yeah. Butt Farm Poker, ooh, fun hand right here, yeah. So, you guys right now, I feel like I'm a time traveler because right now we're looking at pocket fours against whatever hand he's got. Yeah, man, Stackopoly, I would love it if you could subscribe right now because it would be awesome to actually have that little trickle of $2 here, $3 here. You can donate though. There is that donate button right down there. If you've enjoyed yourself, you're more than welcome to. Ship me a couple bucks, ship me a beer. I'll be happy to take it. Yeah, look at these guys. Should have shoved the 4-4, says John Bruce 4. That's the nice thing about actually taking this down is you don't have to second guess yourself. You don't have to think about it. I think that maybe you're right, maybe you're wrong. In the end, you don't have to question yourself when you actually take the W down. So I think that the reason I didn't shove is because I felt like I felt like I had a small edge in just chipping away and chipping away and chipping away, and eventually I was going to get him into a spot where he was drawing pretty thin, and I don't think that he would be folding the fours. I think that he was low enough in chips that he's probably going with the hand. So. And this, folks, is why you see Dutch Boyd grinding a $1,200 guaranteed on WSOP.com. Thank you for the kind words, Junior DSP. Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and... The tournament still hasn't shut down yet, so I'm going to go ahead and let it finish off. And then you guys are going to be able to ask any sort of questions you want. This is it. I'll keep the stream open for another 5 or 10 minutes, and it's great to be here. So on the stream itself now, because we are on a delay, on the stream itself, I just took it down. Thanks for the support, guys. And I'm getting a lot of people in here. Hippo, Rich Blaze, LV. Sisters Up, Shooting in My Mouth, Sticky Rice, The Legend, K. Bennett, Joseph F, E1 CNR, Raging Alcoholic, XX Anthony, Stackopoly. Wow, there are just so many people coming on and saying congrats. It really means a lot. Thank you guys. If you haven't, please hit the follow button. Keeping it up for a while just to wrap it up. If any of you guys have some questions or comments, please do let me, please shoot them off. Okay, so get milked. How much did you win? 450 or so. 99 problems and a knit ass is one of them. Dutch Boyd, how much did you win? We're looking at about 455. Yes, that's it. Get milked. Oh, nice. My wee wee's green. Now give Doyle half the money because he won with his hand. Good idea, buddy. I'll go over there right now. Can we see the lobby up, Dutch? Yeah, let me go ahead and pop the lobby up really quick. No, it looks like they actually took the lobby down, so you're going to just have to trust me. $455, first out of 58. Sorry, man. Matty Matt, congrats, bro. It's definitely good for streaming when you run deep so often. Thanks, man. Mathematic Bink. God, I walked away for 2 seconds and didn't get to see the win. Damn, that Connor dude. You know what? I'm sure it's going to make a highlight. Dutch, now you took this down and take down the win. I'm going to try, buddy. I'm going to try.
There's a Raging Alcohol. What are your
top 3 tells of a weak player when you're at the table? Good question. I would say the top three tells are going to be an increased breathing frequency, like good players kind of poor players rev themselves up like that when they're getting ready for a confrontation. Obviously, the shaking hand is huge for weak players. If someone's new to the game, they haven't gotten that shake out yet. So when they have really strong hands, they're going to be.
They want to see the lobby.
I can't. There's no more lobby. WSOP must have taken it down. Let me see if I can't get it here. I feel like we should be able to put it up, but it's just not there.
Oh.
Okay, let me go ahead and add a source. This is the lobby, you guys. So this was what we just took down. That's what it's all about. I gotta say, we stayed home tonight to do a little Twitch stream with y'all, and it's really fun when it actually pans out to be the win. It's nice to actually be the one with all the marbles at the end. So Joseph F, the donate button's right down there on the panel. If you felt like you had a good time, I would definitely appreciate it if you'd give the donate. We're going to try to get that subscription button up pretty quick. And you guys can help with that. Just hit that follow button down there and try to help with getting that Twitch partnership. TJ says, with a lot of the controversy in your past, are you in a better place? Hope you are healthy. Are you in a better place now? Have you gotten right with people in your past? TJ, I try to get right with people in my past. I know that there's a lot of people out there who, for pick a reason, didn't like me, growing up. The truth is, TJ, I probably wouldn't have liked me as an 18, 19, 20-year-old kid also. I'm just trying to do the best I can and be positive. I do feel like I'm in a pretty good space right now. Let's see, James DeBear, can you do a replay of this later and some analysis for those that missed it? Do you have a hand history of this? James DeBear, all of this is being saved on the thing. I'll probably try to put this whole stream up on YouTube. Thanks for joining us, James DeBear. It really means a lot. You were here for almost the whole thing. Amanda says, thank you very much for the book. Finished reading the whole thing yesterday. Great read. Recommend it. Amanda, thanks for saying so. If anybody hasn't saw, I did write a book about poker. It's more about me coming up in poker, so don't buy it thinking that you're going to be picking up a strategy book. But yeah, Ringworm says he just shipped you a beer for the good stream. Thank you, bro. Really appreciate it. It means a lot to me. I will definitely take you up on that beer. And you know what? I'm gonna have this set up with Twitch alerts the next stream I do. So in the future, you'll get a little more bang for your buck than just a thank you and a shout out, Ringworm. Yeah, Dutch, give me my money, Eximois. Thank you for joining the stream. We got Cosper, the friendly host, Eximois coming down with a band hammer, keeping the trolls out. I couldn't do anything without her. So Sketchy won poker. Look at that. We got John Eaton in the house. Thanks for coming in and watching the stream. Good to see you. Good to see you, Sketch. We are on a delay. We're on a delay here, so keep that in mind. And Joseph F. can't figure out where to send you $2. Just go down to the panel, Joe. There's a little donate button. If you click that, it'll take you right to PayPal. I would definitely appreciate $2. It's definitely going to. Donations. The whole idea of being able to get paid to do these kind of streams just really excites me. So it definitely makes me feel great. And please, if you haven't, click the follow button. Follow me on Twitter. Give me a little Twitter love. It's really this is a community. This is what makes Twitch so different than YouTube. Sode Dutch, looks like I won't be making it to the Colossus, but I'm planning on making it out to a 1K event. Can I rub your belly for luck? Thanks for, I'm looking forward to meeting you, Sode Shant. Hopefully I won't have much of a belly to rub by then. I'm going to be trying to, do some working out. Yeah, Rich Blaze, thanks again. I hope that I'm able to take down the win main. Phil Wright says, great job, Dutch. Well played. Great to watch. Thank you, Phil. It means a lot to me. It really does. So, Joseph, there's a big donate button in the panels, bro. Mathematic, good luck at the win. Well, good luck getting through me at the win. Yeah, Mathematics, definitely introduce yourself when you're there. You definitely gave me a little bit of food for thought with that. It's always good to be challenged when you're coming up with some ideas on why you should always avoid coin flips. So I appreciate you spending some time with us on the stream, and I also appreciate your thoughts because it's clear that you put in a lot of thought into the game. Junior DSP, do you still talk to Brett Youngblood? Any idea what he's up to? I do. I love Brett. I love Gank. I do have a fact down here that's actually one of the most frequently asked questions is, do we still hang out with the crew? I got to assume that he's going to be rolling through Vegas here during the World Series. I just, it's in his blood. The whole reason they made, that Brett has his first name was because he was named after Brett Maverick off of the old, 50s and 60s show. So I can't imagine that there's going to be a World Series of Poker where Brett is, living, breathing, and healthy and not rolling through to at least try to satellite into the main event. CWS Vancouver, just saying. Dutch X1 needs some bones, just saying. Yeah, that's the thing about having a girlfriend is everything is a little bit more expensive. 9 Iron 12, thanks again for being in the stream and joining us. It's really awesome to have you here. Waar woont je in Nederland? Are you coming to the Netherlands? I think that means. I've been to Amsterdam. I love it there. I'm pretty good friends with Noah Boken, exclusive, and I would love to have an excuse to come back up. Unfortunately, I don't smoke weed anymore, so it's not quite the draw that it might have been. Who's Nick 6? But thanks for joining us in the stream. Blob0259, well done, mate. Thank you. It feels good to actually finish it up with a win. Third time that I've streamed streamed some tournaments, so we're 3 for 3 for final tables, and now we finally got that W. I feel like it's a good warm up for tomorrow. Ghost Bud, I was really good to watch and learn from you. Thanks. No problem. I hope that you continue to join us for these Twitches, Ghost Bud. Hit that follow button. Sticky Rice won the legend. Can I pay for some Skype poker lessons? I think we'd become best friends like stepbrothers. That's funny. We probably would. I don't know if you ever saw that movie. One of the highlights of my last year was Adam McKay and Chris Hitchen walked into Caesar's Palace and sat down at a 25-50 limit hold'em game with us. Those are the two guys who are the executive producers of the movie Step Brothers. So it was supposed to be silent. Great movie. Dude Cax. Oh, and to answer your question, Sticky Rice, I've given Skype poker lessons before. Right now, I mean they're pretty expensive just because I feel like time is pretty. Time really, when it comes down to it, is our most valuable thing. Doing these kind of Twitch streams, I really enjoy it because I can interact with 500 people at once. But I do have a law degree. If you were going to pay me to fix a will for you, it'd be $300 an hour. So I don't know, how much do you think 3 bracelets, a triple threat is worth for one-on-one lessons? I don't know. I think that you'd probably be better off. There's a lot of really good poker players out there who are willing to give coaching for $60 or $70 an hour. And I, right now I don't know that I'd be able to really give you much more than they could, honestly. But definitely Sticky Rice. The next time you're rolling through Vegas, if you want to go grab a beer, I'm definitely down. Talk a little bit of shop, but so the short answer is yes and no. James DeBerry, 5 figures at 400, first place still gets you going. It does. It doesn't matter, how much you win. A win is a win, and it makes you feel good. Sticky One Rice, were you the one at the bike with a horse mask? I don't think that Sticky Rice Won the Legend is the Sticky Rice. If he is, actually, Sticky Rice won the legend, then yeah, I probably would give the real Sticky Rice, lessons on poker if he would give me lessons on slow rolling. That is one of my favorite streams on Twitch. So shoot it in my mouth, Dutch Boyd, followed man. Thank you, was fun. Thanks for the follow. It really does mean a lot. Micah 68PH. Yes, it's obvious. I don't know what's obvious, Micah, but Micah, thanks for being here. It really means a lot. I'm gonna go ahead and cut it off. It's late, and Win Classic is coming up pretty quick, guys. So if there's any last night question, any last questions, now's the time to give them. Now's the time. I'm just going to give the peace, double peace. I really appreciate you guys being here. I'm going to stay in the chat, so feel free to say what you want. But This is Dutch Boyd signing out, and you'll be seeing me hopefully a lot more here on Twitch.